show, 9 and 30 minutes. I actually have managed to get on time. We'll talk about many interesting things today. We'll talk about Hassan Piker. Gonna talk about Bethesda and one of the only companies left in the West where people are still carrying water for it. I generally don't know, because it had like failure after failure after failure. Fallout 76 was pretty bad in my opinion. Fallout 4 also could have been good. Like Fallout 4 wasn't a major flop, but they reused assets. They didn't add that much compared to Fallout 3. And so, compared to Fallout New Vegas, like, Fallout 4 was pretty bad. But I guess it was still a good game in the sense that it sold, right? So, people were fine with it. However, Fallout 76, just abysmal launch. Just horrible, right? Then the milking of Skyrim. Now you have Oblivion Remastered, and they nerfed hits from statues, even though, like, no one complained about those statues. They decided to censor them anyway. And now everyone is carrying water for them, right? We're going to talk about that. It's so fucking weird. I don't know why they still manage to have a devoted fan base. Like, most Western companies simply don't. Most gamers are jaded. They don't trust corporations anymore. But Bethesda is like one of the only companies that are like, well, the characters were always ugly, so it's fine. It's fine if the characters keep looking like shit, because it's Bethesda. I mean, it's 2025, we have just custom-made engines, and we got characters that are pre-made, and you can use those models, but it's Bethesda. I mean, yeah, people are going to mod it. Like, why do you expect them to do anything? It comes out filled with bugs, but it's Bethesda. I mean, obviously you need to give them some slack. Who thinks this way? And on the top of that, right, like, I'm willing to bet that the game is going to cost $120. Like, I'm mostly sure of it. Yeah, like, I guess Todd Howard is bad because he's a liar. But when you compare him with other people, when you compare him with Mr. Pitchford, when you compare him with, what was the other guy? Do you not have phones from Blizzard? Todd Howard becomes the standard, like, all the other CEOs should try to become like him, because by comparison, he's not so bad, If every CEO becomes like Todd Howard with all of his flaws and qualities, the gaming industry actually progresses. Like they actually move closer to morality by being like Todd Howard. There won't be anything worth modding. Well, what was the last game they made? Starfield, right? Does Starfield have mods? Because, like, I understand that Starfield is the type of game that came and went. Like, a lot of people were excited about it. There was, like, a little bit of a hype when the game released. Like, some people still played it. And now nothing. Like, no talks about it, no memes about it. I don't know anything of the story because I haven't played it. The interesting thing is that up until now, even if I didn't play a game, I would still, like, see the story by noticing people talk about it, right? So, like, I haven't played the latest God of War, but, like, people were talking about it, and I got the story. And that's how you know it's a good game. That's how you know that it's a product that's worth having. If you don't see any memes, if you don't see any people talking, no community, no fan art, the game is shit. And so when I'm looking at Bethesda, I just don't understand why people like it. Now, let's talk about the latest controversy, right? So, Grooms apparently started it. And this is why I love Grooms. A lot of people went like, why do you love Grooms? Because he causes ass hurt. But he scam people, I don't care. What I do care is that he causes ass hurt. That's the only reason that I care about him, right? So, this one has like 2.2 billion views. And it shows like some of the creative producers of the new Elder Scrolls game, right? And a lot of people notice the aesthetics, right? They are very skeptical because they notice the clothing and the choice of attire that these ladies have. And so immediately, like, people said, okay, well, the game is going to be shit. Now, this is where you get the backlash, and you have people saying, well, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, you shouldn't judge people based on their phenotype. And it's like, no, hold on a little bit. Every ideology has a certain aesthetic. Like, if you see people dressed like a biker, right? It's not wrong to assume that they're part of the biker culture. If you see a person dressed in goth attire, it's not wrong to assume that they're goth. Now, the assumption is not set in stone, right? Like, it's not like the scientific consensus never changing. No, like, the assumption can be proven wrong. Like, I can see a skinhead with a swastika tattoo, and I can assume he's a Nazi. But after talking to the man, he can say, well, 10 guys pinned me down and drew this tattoo on my top of my head. I'm not a Nazi. And then I go, oh, okay, right? So, like, the assumption isn't set in stone. I can change my mind. All they have to do is to release a good game. But because people are already angry, just because people are assuming that the game is going to be corporate sanitized slop, I assume that even they don't think they're going to release a good game. Because if I knew, all right, this company is definitely going to make a killer with the new Oblivion, then I would just allow people to criticize these ladies, right? Just write down the receipts, save the videos, make sure that I have everything in order, so that when the game comes out, then I get to shame them. Then I get to say, oh, look, you are all imbeciles. Like, look how awesome this game is, right? And you're all just a bunch of bigots. But the reality is, like, they know that's not the case. Now, the interesting point is that, well, these ladies were with the company since 1999, right? Like, this lady, for instance, she made Elder Scrolls 3, she worked on Morrowind, she worked on these other things. And so, it's not fair to judge a book by its cover, especially when she was at the company since the beginning. And my counter-argument is, like, yeah, I saw this story play out with Matrix 4. Like, Matrix 4 was done by one of the original people that made the first trilogy, and it was utter shit. I saw the same play out with Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones first seasons, utterly amazing. Later seasons, utter shit. I can go on through example and example and example, right? Like, even though it's the same people, as time goes on, the corporate culture changes, and the people that remain at the company either have to change with the company, or they get fired, or they have to leave. And so, you know, like Mortal Kombat, for instance, right? Another great example, Ed Boon. Ed Boon was with Mortal Kombat since the beginning. Now, he's still there, and the game is shit. I don't care, you know, like, I'm just going to look at the aesthetics of the person, and I'm going to cast my opinion, because, like, at the end of the day, I'm not talking about the phenotype, right? Like, the way these ladies look, and I don't even care that they're ladies. But when you dye your hair in this manner, to me, it shows that you're probably part of an ideology, right? Because, like, dyeing your hair is an expression that people choose to do, right? Like, it's part of, like, your choice, how you present yourself to the public. And if you present yourself like that, yeah, I assume you're part of the corporate social justice mindset. Especially, like, the background, the decor, like, all of that. Yeah, and I think, like, the company is going to produce slop. But, like, here's your opportunity to prove that I'm wrong. Here's your opportunity to send a game that will make me not only change my mind, but also apologize. And it's not, you know, it's not even the fact that they're women. Because, like, a lot of people try to go for the gender aspects. Like, oh, V, so because they're women. No, like, if they were soy boys, soy-facing, I would have had the exact same opinion, right? If they all had, like, large beards and they were bald, and all they were soy-facing at the camera, I would have said, yeah, the game is probably going to be shit. Like, imagine if you see a guy, you know, with the crucifixes at his neck. Like, wouldn't you assume that the game is going to have, like, Christian morality and it's going to be sanitized from a Christian perspective? Of course, you know? If you see a guy with anime statues and weeb shit, like, wouldn't you assume that there's going to be tits and ass in the video game? Right? Like, why are we pretending that the choice in attire, the choice of a person presenting themselves to the public doesn't matter? Of course it matters. That's why the person chooses to do that. Dyeing hair is white supremacy. It's usually like dyeing hair in unnatural colors, right? Because, like, you can dye your hair black, you can dye your hair blonde, But in 2025 in America or in the West, if you dye your hair like either bright red or blue or green or purple or, like any of these unnatural colors, yeah, I'm going to assume that you're part of the left-leaning ideology. Unless you prove it otherwise. If I see that you have a dyed hair and you promote MAGA values, then I'll be like, okay, I was wrong. This is a right-winger. Everything these days has been commodified to such an extent that I don't think it matters anymore. It's all a fad. Not really. No. Like, I think in the corporate environment, you can definitely assess corporate culture by the way people dress. Like look at an Asian company, right? Like, look at when Nikkei, for instance, makes a developer interview or a developer commentary, and look at how the people there present themselves, right? Look at how back in the day when they made Witcher 3, look at how the Polish people presented themselves. Like, you notice just by the difference. Like, I'm sorry if I shouldn't, but I can't help it. I do. American Outlier, thank you for the $20. Hi V, hope all is well and your day is good. Is the Gamergate 2 war still continuation? Also, Ed Boon was metaphorically held at gunpoint by Warner Brother to drink the agenda Kool-Aid, or we removing you from the CEO of Netherrealm. I actually didn't know about that, but let me show you something with Ed Boon, right? Now Mortal Kombat, for those of you who don't know, used to be a game about tits and violence. Like the original game that brought the ESRB, it shocked religious people. It was so hyper violent that everyone that was a parent back in the day would go and they would see at an arcade, and they would just freak the fuck out when they saw, the fact that you can decapitate people, the fact that you can pull out the spine of someone. And so, it was a very edgy game. Right. Now, Mortal Kombat 9 is the actually last game where they played with sex appeal. Like, after that, the violence was down to comedic level. Like, it wasn't grotesque, visceral violence. It was just over-the-top comedy shit like Rick and Morty. And the sex appeal completely gone. And I want you to show like a before and after picture, right? Like, you can immediately see the major difference. Like, this is Ed Boon with a cosplayer, right? Like, this is during the Mortal Kombat 9 time. He was at a convention. This Ushikushi lady cosplaying as Melina came in, made a picture with him, right? And this is what happens after Mortal Kombat has changed. We now see Ed Boon, right? Like, doing with the furry, and you can see on his face. Like, you can see the joy and happiness in his life being sucked out of him. And yes, the guy next to him is actually a homosexual furry. Nothing wrong with being a homosexual furry, mind you, but like, this is now missing. Like, this is now not someone from the decor. Like, no one can even cosplay the new female characters in Mortal Kombat because they all look like men. Like, you can't find women in real life that look like that. Kind of reminds me of the Last of Us 2 scenario where, Abby is one female character that looks so masculine that when they decided to make a TV show and tried to find an actress to play Abby, they literally couldn't find any woman with that physiology. And so, this is the future of Mortal Kombat. No more women, no more sexiness, only furry. It's actually interesting. Like, this furry is a black gentleman. His name is Sonic Fox, best Mortal Kombat player in the world. So, like, him being a furry is not the problem. Like, okay, there are room for furries, but why can't we have room for this, right? Like, why was this taken away from us? Like, furries came in, women went out, Like, why couldn't both be in the same room? Or if we have to choose, right, can we put it to a public vote? Like, I'm sure, furries are an important pillar of the Mortal Kombat community. Like, you can't have Mortal Kombat without furries. But, what about the ladies? Can we not have any? Right, we can't. I see. Zixion, Ed Boon cocked. Don't care reason he is guilty. No, I look, I'm not so, absolutist in thinking. Like, if you have a company, because I'm telling you this, now having a staff, I kind of understand how it's like, because you have people that depend on you in order to have a living. Like if your company goes bankrupt, you have people that are going to be jobless, right? And so if you at some point think, all right, well, I guess the corporation is buying me off now, and I have a choice. Either I keep doing it or everyone gets fired. Most people will go like, I actually care about the people that I know. Like the culture is something hypothetical. It's something that, you kind of think about it, but it's in an abstract, right? But the people you know, the people you work with, you know by name, you know their problems. And so you're going to say, all right, I want my company to keep working. Even if I'm not producing entertainment anymore, at least I'm giving jobs for the people that I care about. And so this is why a lot of people make the decision to sell out. I actually spoke with some people that sold out from big companies, and that's what they told me. Zixion says, no, you refuse and go public with reason. Well, Zixion, I'm not disagreeing with you. But, why are people with such strong morals never starting their own companies is what I want to know. Like, here's the thing, you go on the internet and there's a lot of people that have such strong morals like you, and I want to agree with you. I'm not taking the piss right now. I'm generally being honest, right? I want to be on your side, and I want to support you, and I want to say, you know what? A society where everyone is like Zixion would be a better society. But I constantly notice that people like you don't start companies. And I'm telling you why. Because the moment you start one, you're going to either have to break your principles or you're going to be kicked out of the industry, right? So the people with morals and principles, they don't have power because they can't get into power. They don't play by the meta. They don't play by the games. They're not flexible. They're very rigid. And so morality never actually gets to the top. And that's a sad truth, like you can't swim against the current. Now, if a lot of people with morality would bend their morality, reach the top, and then make change, sure. If you hide your power level until you're in an executive position and you can actually make change, great. But if you don't do that and you're being resistant from the beginning, you don't even manage to get to the first step. Anyway, starting a company in the USA is nearly impossible. Is it though? I don't think it's harder than it is in the European Union. Ed Boon did it, right? We're literally talking about a guy that started this company. No, I don't think it's impossible to start a company. Depends on what. If you're making video games, no, it's never been easier. You can make a GoFundMe, you can have a Kickstarter, right? The only thing you need to do is to have a couple of network connections. For instance, American Outlier, right? He's starting a manga. Will it be successful? I don't know. I'll help him with it. But he's trying, right? If you're never trying to start something, look at that chucklehead, what's his name? Ethan Van Sciver, right? Ethan Van Sciver started his shit. Now, if he was to lay off the fucking drama and focus more on his goddamn frog, maybe he would be successful. But the problem with even Van Sciver is that he probably noticed that it's more profitable to bitch online at other content creators than to focus on his shit. Right? So, that's another reason why companies can fail. Even if you're independent and you know what to do and you're managing to secure an audience and funds, if you're arrogant, if you got a big ego, well, starting a company is really easy. Go to your city Yeah, exactly. I don't know why people are bitching. You can make up paperwork, yes, but it's worthless. Well, I don't think there was ever a time in human history where it's you start a company and you immediately get success. Right? And it depends on what you mean by success. If you set up reasonable goals, which is, I want to make as much as I put in, at least I want to break even, then I don't think it's hard. Ethan Van Sciver didn't fail. Didn't he though? How many issues did he publish? Is he past issue number 3? I'm actually asking. I'm not being sarcastic right now. From my knowledge, I spoke with a lot of people that originally supported him, and then they were upset that he stopped publishing comics. The regulations are what are a horror story. Yeah, I agree. No, because I'm also making a video game, right? So, I understand all these things, and I understand that my video game may end up flopping. I get it. And the worst thing is the regulations. Like, you can't just make a video game anymore. Just like, just make a story and do whatever the fuck you want. No. Hi V, how's the cat cafe doing? I didn't set it up though. The reason I didn't set up the cat cafe is because of the pandemic. Like, I was actually gonna start the cat cafe, right? But I was so lucky I didn't because the pandemic came along. I don't know if, like, the pandemic can be held as a reason why businesses don't work because it was a worldwide event, that affected businesses everywhere. But I was going to start one. The pandemic came, and then I decided to use that money to buy a house. Because I promised myself I will never allow the government to lock me in as if I'm under house arrest ever again. And so I got a house with a private road, like one of those suburbs neighborhood. And I'm happy that I did that. Yeah, I did dodge a bullet with the cat cafe. I do agree, though, that the cat cafe may not have been, like, the best idea simply because regulations come in, right? But it was, like, an outlandish business proposal simply because, like, no one else did it in my country, and I thought that, okay, well, it's going to be successful. However, you still start, even if you fail. Like, just trying is what matters, because for every successful business, there's 10 that fail. This is why men, real men, are usually at the top or at the bottom. Because women like to play it safe, while men take risks. And when you take risks, you either succeed and you're at the top, or you fail and you're at the bottom, but you're never at the middle. V, can you please make physical copies of your game so I can send them all to politicians I know? It will be funny. I don't know if I can, though. But like, nothing's stopping you from downloading the game and putting it on a USB stick. American Outlier, thank you for the $20. Glad you're pointing this out, V. I'm working on a manga, so people depend on me to keep my job. Also, I don't see people helping James Damore, the guy that made the Google gender email, got internet and fame and nothing else. Didn't he get hired, though? Like, I remember he got hired by a right-wing company. Hold on, I'm going to search. It's actually good that now we got ChatGPT, so you can just do a quick search. Did anyone help James Damore after his conundrum? So, I remember that he got helped. After James Damore controversial memo and subsequent firing from Google, he received support from various quarters, though the nature and the support varied. Internal support at Google, despite the backlash, some Google employees privately expressed agreement with Damore's views. Leaked internal messages revealed that several co-workers rallied around his manifesto, with Damore indicating that former colleagues had reached out privately to express their gratitude and support for bringing up these issues. He got legal assistance. He hired Harmed Dillon, a prominent Republican lawyer and civil rights attorney. Dillon represented him in a complaint filed with the National Labor Relations Board and later in a class action lawsuit alleging discrimination against conservative whites and Asian men at Google. He got media and public support. In the aftermath, he became a figurehead for debates on free speech and ideological deservists in tech, gave interview to various media outlets, and appeared on platforms hosted by individuals like Jordan Peterson and Stefan Molyneux. As of recent reports, Damore has largely retreated from the public eye, has been described living a more private life, with some noting that he became a digital hermit following the controversy. So, let me see if he won lawsuits. Did he win lawsuits? Because if he won lawsuits, then this would explain why we don't hear from him. So after fighting a class lawsuit against discrimination, he shifted his claim to private arbitration. This move meant that proceeding of any outcomes were confidential. Okay, so he probably got paid from the lawsuits, right? He filed a complaint with the National Labor Relations. Says that his termination violated labor laws. However, they concluded that Google's decision to fire him was lawful, citing that his memo contained discriminatory statements. Okay, so like one lawsuit didn't work, but it seems that he has gone through arbitration. He probably got a couple of millions of dollars, and now he's shutting the fuck up. So, it's up to you to decide if this was help or not, but I would be happy in his position. Like, you get a couple of millions of dollars, you're already a tech expert, you can start your own business, start your own company, right? Go independent, go private. Zixion Doppelganger, I want a degenerate AI that will find porn for me. There are a couple, actually. For those of you who don't know, ChatGPT relaxed its not safe for work policies. Now ChatGPT does violence if you ask it to. And it can also do erotica. What it doesn't do is anything with underage characters, right? So no My Hero Academia shit. But if you actually have like a story or something like that, yeah, you can roleplay with it. And there's other AIs, which I can tell you in private if you want. Arbitration always goes in favor of the company. It doesn't matter, right? Like, if you get $10 billion, especially like before 2020, that's enough to start your own company. Yeah, sure, you know, like maybe if you go into the court, you can get 100 million. But I'm not a greedy son of a bitch. Like 20 million, if you're a hardworking guy and you invest it to start your own shit, it's enough. Grok can recommend hentai games. Oh yeah, Grok is also pushing for not safe for works. And it also has an unhinged persona now, which uses slurs. Oh, ChatGPT uses slurs now as well. I think like as time will move on, you will see AI removing most of the safety guardrails for the simple reason that there is now offline AI, right? And you have like other, how should I say, non-official AIs, right? And what they're doing is that you can have a private AI with no safety guardrails in check. And now like no one will use ChatGPT, no one will use Grok. And so they have to start allowing people to do the things that they can do anyway. There will still be laws. Like, for instance, no not safe for work stuff with minors will always be a thing simply because of legislation in other countries. Like, I know. People who like anime, BTFO. Yes, I know. But that's not gonna change. And then you also have, like, stuff like not being allowed to draw humans. Like, you know, famous actors or do pornography with actual people. Simply because there's laws against revenge porn. There's now bills, you know, the Take It Down Act from the United States. So, like, they're legally not allowed to do this. And let's see, what else? Instructions on how to make dangerous shit like bombs, Molotov cocktails, that type of stuff. But other than that, yeah, like, you can have AI that allow you to do crazy shit. Oh, not being allowed to write hate speech manifestos, right? So you gotta wait a little bit, and eventually the AI will open up. Did Johnny Somali do this? Yeah, Johnny Somali actually did, and it's kind of ridiculous because when you look at the thing that Johnny Somali did, it's so fucking cringe. Like, no one takes it seriously, right? It's obvious that it was an AI background. It's obvious that it was fake, but the law is the law, you know? You don't go in South Korea and you start shit. Mr. Murkow, my family owned a factory in Brazil, and it is rough to manage attending the ESG stuff. Multinationals ask about for US to supply them. Have 80 employees, can't just tell them to go away. Yeah, I don't know how it's like in America, but in Europe, if you take any subsidies from the European Union, if you take any money, any grants from the government, then you have to use their seeds, you have to use their techniques, you have to use their tools, and they pretty much start owning your farm. A South Korean court took it seriously. Yeah. No, like the thing with Johnny Somali, right? Let's actually look and see what he did, right? Because like no one on the internet takes it genuinely seriously. So Johnny Somali faces mandatory prison time in South Korea over AI deepfake charge. The thing is, like, the deepfake wasn't him having sex with a woman. It was him kissing another woman, right? So, like, he kissed the streamer. And the streamer, notorious for disruptive behavior, has faced multiple charges Actions include causing disturbance in public spaces, using a dead fish to harass passengers, and twerking on a subway. Now, a fifth charge, sexual violence crimes due to AI deepfake video. The video allegedly depicted Korean streamer Bong Bong in a fabricated intimate scene by kissing Ismail, an act under Korean law which is classified as a hate crime. All right, let's see who streamer Bong Bong is. Oh, okay. Hold on, I'll show you in a bit, chat. I think this is the streamer, right? So basically, he created a deepfake video where he is kissing this girl, right? Now, here's the thing. On the internet, like my generation at least, are not taking this too seriously because it's like, it's a Gundam saying that he's Pokemon's husband. Like, it's that level of internet trolling thing, like being a cheeky little shit online, just trying to... Now, if he was, like, actually having sex with this lady in a deepfake, yeah, sure. But, like, a kiss is actually, like, an insult, being cringe. Should it actually be considered a sex crime? Like, should you be placed on a registry, right? I would rather not, like, if it's for my country. I can't judge for what is in South Korea. But for my country, right, if I see someone on the registry, I would rather not have to ask, like, okay, did you diddle kids? Or did you make a deepfake where you're kissing a streamer because you're an idiot? Like, I don't want to have that conversation. I want to assume that if someone is on a registry, it's either because he raped someone or he was diddling kids, right? Like, that's it, period, right? Like, I'm not saying that making an AI where you're demeaning someone or you're kissing someone shouldn't also be a crime. But I think, like, the registry, the sex crime, should be reserved for, like, the worst thing. So that when someone is there, I know that he done something really fucked up. And I don't have to wonder, it's like, okay, did you doodle something? Did you, created an AI where you kiss someone, right? Did you made a lewd of an actress, right? Like, they should be separate. Now, in Korea, there aren't. In Korea, like, anything goes. Any type of thing that has to do with the penis is on the registry, right? You may have, like, I understand pornography there is illegal, so you may have, like, an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old that watched some hentai and now is on the registry. So you gotta ask. You gotta be like, what the fuck did you do? Why are you on the registry? What did you do? You're in South Korea, huh? It is what it is. Different culture. But if you go there, you need to understand their laws. Like, you need to understand the way they're thinking. You're not in America anymore, right? You're not in your country. You're in another place. You're not there to change their way of life. You're there to follow their laws. And I don't think, like, Johnny understood the severity of what he did. And there's also the thing, like, that there are certain laws in some countries that aren't always applied. And this happens everywhere on Earth. Like, for instance, pornography in China, right? Any type of porn in China is illegal. Like, you go to prison. It's kind of like watching child porn in America, right? Like, it's illegal. It's banned. It's criminal. Safe in China, adult porn, like even between consenting adults, is also illegal. It's also treated the same. But it's not applied consistently. Like, there are millions, if not hundreds of millions of Chinese people that watch pornography with VPNs. And so every now and then, if the government really wants to go after someone, well, then they apply the law, right? It's how the system works. It's like, you're allowed to do it, but don't make it a public scandal, right? Like, technically it's illegal, but in reality, right? Like, unofficially, you can do it. Just don't become a problem for the government. Don't be an activist. Don't talk against the government. Don't try to take someone else's nephew position at work, right? Like, you're in a corporate environment and the boss's son is affiliated with the CCP and they want to get that position and you're taking it from them. All of a sudden, they'll be, oh, well, let's check his hard drive. Pornhub. So I think it's the same with Johnny Somali in South Korea. It's like, if he was any other person, like if I was to go in South Korea and I would do something like this, I think I would have gotten away with it. Unironically, I think if I was in South Korea and I made like a deep fake shit, they would deport me. They would probably say, all right, fine. You didn't know. Like, you speak with the prosecutor and you tell them, it's like, look, I'm a Romanian. I was traveling here. I'm really sorry. Yeah, I fucked it up. How do we make it right? Like, what do I need to do now? They'll probably be like, okay, you're not worth the hassle. We're deporting you, right? But Johnny Somali, because he's an internet famous person, he's a cheeky little shit, upset people everywhere, disrespected Korea, disrespected them on purpose many times. Well, they're like, okay, let's make an example out of him. It's good PR, right? Like, everyone on the internet wants to see this guy suffer. We're going to apply the full extent of the law. We're going to hit him with sex crimes. We're going to make sure that he never escapes prison, because that's good PR for my country. And it's good PR for the prosecutor that fucks with him, because, you know, when a prosecutor messes with a celebrity, that's how they get prestige. That's how they get fame. They have tiny elections in China? I see. It's not about charisma. It's usually about the government spending money, right? If you're a nobody, and especially if you're a foreigner, the government isn't really interested in locking you up and spending money with your jail time, right? Unless you do something really bad. But if it's something that's like a obscenity crime in a country that has a law that's different than almost any other place on earth, and they'll be like, okay, you know, fuck off. Let's sweep it under the rug, right? Because like the thing is, they don't want to lose tourists. That's the main issue, right? Because if you're a country and you start arresting various tourists and you apply like the full extent of the law, well, eventually what happens is like tourism drops. No one wants to go to a country where you know that they have like very strict laws, and even the tiniest slip up means that you're going to get their justice system. Bipedal species, thank you for the £5. Did you know that Johnny Somali really hates being called his name of Ramzi Khalid Ismail? I did not know that. Why? Does he hate his father? What happened with his parents? Like, I kind of understand why he may hate that, right? Like, if he has a bad relationship with his folks, I kind of see what's going on there. Johnny Somali will be deleted in prison? I've no idea. It can go both ways. Like, first of all, I don't know the, you know what? Hold on. Let me ask ChatGPT, because ChatGPT may know, right? Like, it's got information about the South Korean prison. The thing that Johnny Somali has going for him is that he is a public figure, and he's an American citizen. And so chances are he's not going to be deleted in prison, but they may actually put him under protection, meaning complete isolation from everyone, right? So according to ChatGPT, Johnny Somali, whose real name is Ramzi Khalid Ismail, is currently facing up to 31 years in prison in South Korea due to multiple charges stemming from disrupting and controversial behavior during his time in the country. These charges include 2 counts on the Special Act on Sexual Violence Crimes for disturbing AI-generated deepfake pornographic videos. But didn't he okay, hold up. Didn't he have a single AI video with him kissing another streamer? Like, that's not disturbing, it's improper. That's not pornographic. I guess you can say it's sexual in nature, right? But like, 2 people kissing is not porn. If I see 2 people kissing in the park, I wouldn't say I went to the park and I saw pornography, you know? But I guess like this is how the press is treating it. Additionally, he has pleaded guilty to 3 counts of obstruction of business, each with a potential of 5-year sentence, 2 violations of the Minor Offenses Act, which are considered less severe but contribute to the overall legal situation. Actions such as harassing locals, playing loud music in public spaces, disrespecting cultural symbols have sparked significant public outrage in South Korea. The South Korean legal system is known for its high conviction rates, and given the nature of the charges, it is likely he will face substantial prison sentence if convicted. His hearing is on August the 13th, 2025. Jesus fucking Christ. Can you imagine, like, having to stay in a country for, like, that long? And not only that, but, like, I don't know if he can make money anymore because he got banned from most of the streaming services. What would happen based on his behavior if he gets convicted and goes in prison? Will he be treated like a sex pest or not? So if Johnny Somali ends up in the Korean prison, prisoner hierarchies and social dynamics in Korea. South Korean prison have rigid hierarchies, and behavior both inside and outside the prison can affect your standing. Number 1, sex offenders are stigmatized. In many prison cultures worldwide, including South Korea, these are convicted sexual crimes, especially involving women or children, are often ostracized, bullied, or attacked by other inmates. Even if the deepfakes weren't physical, assaults, the sexual violence label carries heavy weight, and prisoners may not care about the legal nuance. Public infamy might make it worse. Johnny Somali is well known and politically charged. Him mocking of Korean disruptive antics and lack of remorse made him widely hated. Inmates may already be familiar with his public image, a nuisance, a provocateur, and now a sex offender. That combo could make him a target for both harassment and violent discipline by other inmates, trying to establish moral superiority or curry favor with the guards. Foreigners get no special protection. While there may be language barriers and some initial separation, especially during intake or quarantine periods, foreign prisoners are not immune to the social codes inside. Korean inmates might feel especially hostile towards him due to the disrespect shown to their culture, amplifying aggression beyond the usual. What he could expect: once integrated, he may be ostracized, refuse basic social interaction, verbally or physically assaulted, especially if guards are indifferent, which in his case may be, treated as kot pepo, slang for sex criminals, which is a derogatory label. Depending on prison policy, he may be sent to a facility specializing in sex offender rehabilitation, but this could also include physical punishment, humiliation from other inmates. He may even have a hit put on him. In short, unless the prison goes out of its way to segregate or protect him, Johnny Somali is likely to be treated like a reviled sex offender, especially given his public persona. The deepfake angle won't save him. Most inmates don't care about technicalities. To them, he'll be a sex-pest foreigner who disrespected Korea. And in prison, they don't forget, and that makes you a target. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. That's what ChatGPT said. How did you break the machine spirit? You whisper it to it, and you never tell it in public. Because the moment you tell it in public, how you broke the machine spirit is when they fix the breaking, and then you have to break it again. Somali is a U.S. citizen. The State Department will spring him after sentencing. All right, let me check. I don't think that's the case. My opinion is that he won't. There we go. There is no reason to believe that Johnny Somali is going to be extradited to the United States. There have been no official requests from the US for his extradition, nor would the South Korean government invest so many resources into prosecuting him and forbidding him from leaving the country if they were planning to extradite him. Being an American won't spare Johnny from South Korean justice. He'll be treated like any other foreign national under Korean law. The only advantage is that he is getting two important procedural rights: consular access and prisoner transfer options. Once he's arrested or detained in South Korea, authorities must notify the United States Embassy under the Vienna Convention of Consular Relations. He can receive visits from the consular office, help finding a lawyer, and translation assistance. This will help him with filing appeals. After conviction and sentencing, he can apply for a transfer back to the United States, but it is unlikely that he will be granted one under Trump's administration. Deportation, once he is sentenced, is finished. Under Korea Immigration Act, any foreigner released after receiving a sentence of imprisonment without labor or heavy punishment is subjected to a departure order for full deportation. Typically, the immigration office serves this order immediately upon release. A departure order leaves him leave voluntarily within a set time. Refusal or flight risk triggers a deportation order. Bottom line, U.S. citizenship won't get him out of prison in Korea, but it does guarantee consular support and a shot at serving time back home. Once his Korean sentence is done, he'll almost certainly be ordered to depart or forcibly be deported to the United States. Trump pardons rappers. It will happen. Usually, the presidential pardon in the United States is done in order to sway public opinion or to carry favors for people, right? So, like, for instance, Trump won the elections, and in order to win the election, he got a percentage of the black vote. I understand, like, he got more black people voting for him than most other Republicans, right? Now, how do you get the black vote? Well, you convince influencers, right? Like, who are influencers? Rappers, streamers, those types of people. And you convince them to shill for you. Now, the shilling is usually done, like, without showing receipts. All of a sudden, you see a rapper singing MAGA lyrics. All of a sudden, an influencer comes out and supports Donald Trump. And those things carry favors, right? Like, okay, you helped him. And now you have a cousin in prison. Now you have a friend in prison. And you want them out. So you go and you tell Trump, it's like, look, I helped you during the campaign, right? Like, you got votes. Now, can you do something for me? Right? And so that's how it works. The other way it works is for optics, right? Like, what was his name? The Diamond and Silk guy, the Ulbricht, you know, the one that the libertarians like. He told them, it's like, if I get the libertarian vote, I'm pardoning this guy. The January 6 people, right? Now, would he pardon Johnny Somali? What would he gain? Right? Like, there's no one that has connections with Johnny Somali, and I think, like, pardoning him would actually do PR damage rather than... And not to mention, like, South Korea is not obligated to give him Johnny Somali. Like, even if Trump would pardon him, even if the Trump administration would say, yeah, can you give Johnny Somali back? South Korea could say no. And I don't think, like, America is going to start an international incident over Johnny Somali. At the end of the day, you know, America does try to pretend that there is something like an international law, right? Like, sure, you know, in some situations, if it's like take into account that in Russia, you have this U.S. Marine that has been arrested for a couple of years now, and he's serving in a Russian prison. They're not getting him out, but, like, they're going to get Johnny Somali out. Like, give me a fucking break. Alexander Zygrev, thank you for the 10 euros. I saw your video about Arch and drones. I really despise right with their takes on Ukraine war. On one hand, it's not their war, so fuck them. On another hand, Ukraine is bad, for drones are bad. I didn't say that Ukraine is bad, for drones are bad. I'm not even against the concept of using drones in warfare. What I don't understand is, like, why would you give enemy black propaganda in favor for the enemy? Hold on. Like, first I'll read all of your super chats and then I'll... would they want to fight Russia without drones? Apart from Ukraine and Finland, nobody was able to stop Russia. Norway would fold immediately. I'm going to wait for your last super chat and then I'll address the issue. But the crime wasn't done in America. It was done in Korea. There have been cases where, like, you had a person, an American soldier, I think it was, in my country. He ran over a citizen on a car, right? So, like, he literally killed someone by running them over. He didn't want to do it. I think he was drink and driving. But the American government requested that he be extradited, and we did. Now, why you guys wanted him so badly, I don't know. I don't even know if he was punished once in the United States. But it was up to Romania's government to say yes or no, right? Like, Romania just did it because it's like, well, I guess, I mean... But not all countries are like that. Like, if we said no, like, you're not having him, unless he was, like, a strategic asset, like, unless he was a guy that was essential for some combat operations, like, America wouldn't care. But by releasing him, you get a favor. That's how it works, right? Like, you guys remember when we, yeah? Well, can we get something in return? Russia folded in World War I. All right, that's all. Okay. Right, let's tackle this. So, Alexander is talking about whether drones should exist or not. I don't think, like, Arch is talking about drones in the sense of the Russian-Ukraine conflict. I think he's talking about drones in the sense of modern war. Like, let's say the United States and China goes to war. Should drones be banned? Now, the idea of banning weapons from war isn't something new. For instance, plastic mines are banned. Like, plastic mines are extremely efficient because you can't use metal detector to find them. But the problem is that once the war is over, right, like you can't find where the mines are, so you have a minefield of plastic mines that can blow up. And once a person is injured with a plastic mine, it's also very difficult to treat them because X-ray doesn't work, right? Like, you can't see where the shrapnel is at. So, chemical weapons, another example, right? Nuclear weapons, so on and so forth. Like, there's a list of things that are banned. Now, in the past, they did talk about banning certain things that today, for instance, are legal. The trench gun. The trench gun is a shotgun, right? So, like, in World War I, they wanted to ban the trench gun because it was horrible. Close quarter space, you go with a shotgun, you go, and all of a sudden, you killed like 20 people. Body parts everywhere, right? So, the idea of banning stuff is not whether it's effective or not. It's, war operations, combat operations, can be done with a lethality that is considered up to a certain scale. Like, if the lethality goes over that and causes immense suffering that is not justifiable, then the thing gets banned, right? And the reason you ban it is not because you want to have the moral high ground. It's because it is something so atrocious that you're like, okay, we're not using it against you, but you guys don't use it against us, right? And that's the terms of conduct. That's how people think. It's like, okay, chemical weapons, they're absolutely atrocious. We're not using it against you. You don't use them against us. So, should drones be banned? My opinion is that absolutely not, right? The reason Arch wants to ban drones is because he says it rots the human soul. The idea that you're now so disincentivized from the front lines that you're sitting at a desk on a computer and you're playing a video game killing people is something that someone like Arch considers abhorrent, right? Like, there should be a level of not decorum, but like humanity, right? Like if you're trying to shoot a guy and they surrender, you may hesitate and take him prisoner, right? Like, you may be less incentivized to commit atrocities if you're not feeling as if you're playing a video game, if you realize the reality of what you're doing. But my counter argument is that, well, hold on a little bit, Arch. How are drones different than artillery? Because artillery is the same shit, right? Like, you're pressing a button, missiles are flying. They land somewhere incredibly far away, sometimes like a Taurus missile, right? Because that's in the news now. You launch a Taurus missile that's like 300 kilometers away, and you don't see where it lands. You don't see the damage it does. You don't see anything. Isn't that dehumanizing, right? What about a general or a politician or an officer that sits behind enemy lines and orders soldiers to go and do shit? Like he's not seeing the carnage. He's not seeing what's happening, right? So, like, if we already have that, how are drones any different? And the answer on how are drones any different is that, well, you actually get to see the footage, right? So, when you post on social media a video of a soldier that's in a vulnerable position, it doesn't matter which side he's at, right? You have a soldier that is given up, he's not fighting, right? And the drone operator kills him, and then you have rock metal music there. Like, that's an execution video. That's not honorable. That's not heroic. That's not epic. That's not like, oh, look at the might of Ukraine managing to invade the Kursk, right? Like it's not look at their last stand. Like, they're managing to keep these forces at bay, or they managed to assault a tank brigade, right? Like, there used to be the previous videos with drones destroying tanks. That was fucking epic, right? It's like, look how they're managing to use the technology they have in order to fight back the enemy forces. But if you're showing like a soldier that's like I'm not even making the argument of whether or not you can surrender to a drone, because I understand the logistics. We talked about it last stream, right? Like, you can't just surrender to a drone. And so if you were to allow soldiers that just stay in fetal positions to escape the drone, then the next time you send the drone in, like, the entire battalion is going to take a fetal position, right? So, no, I get it. Like, it's war, right? I don't see it any different than an artillery strike. Like, even if you surrender in front of the artillery strike, is the same thing. I get that. But what I don't understand is the public spectacle. Like, why must it be placed on Twitter for likes and retweets? Because that actually helps the Russians. Like, if I was part of the Russian, I would definitely want that video so I can show it to every single soldier and say, look, this is what happens if you surrender. This is how they treat your brothers. This is what they do, right? Now, take that into your heart and use it when you fight. Like, that's excellent propaganda, right? Which makes me assume that these videos are actually posted by Russian accounts. It is a possibility. I'm not saying it is, but like, it wouldn't surprise me if it's the case, because I definitely do not understand the optics. A person that's from outside of the conflict, right, from a nation that is trying to support the conflict by donating money to Ukraine, like, let's say France, Germany, the United States, right, like nations that aren't there, but their taxpayer money is going there, they're going to look horrified at these execution videos, right? Because they're dehumanizing. It's like, why are you showing me this? Right? Like, most people do not want to see that type of footage on their screen. If you're showing like a battle plan that involves logistics and maneuverability, you know, like a couple of soldiers managing to break into a building, that's different, right? Like, that's something that I understand. Okay, there's heroism there. There's like, most people will get it. It's war, right? But there's honor there. There's like some glory to be had. But if you're showing me a guy that's like old enough to be my dad, just crouching there, sitting there whimpering while they drop a grenade next to him and like his arm gets blown up and then they drop another grenade, like, what am I getting from that? You know, like what exactly am I supposed to take from that footage? You know, it is what it is. Alexander Zagriev, and war is not rotting the soul anywhere. Arch is a hypocrite. With his attitude like his spread, he will have the chance of finding out. No, it's not that war is not rotting the soul. War is absolutely rotting the soul. But, like, there's different... Okay, there's a difference between a war where the enemy nukes your cities, carpet bombs your civilian population centers, and then throws a chemical attack on top of that, you know? And then there's another war where the armies meet on a field and they take prisoners, they do prisoner exchanges, they allow medics to combat it out. Like basically, throughout human history, war has been, unfortunately, unnecessary when diplomacy fails. And there are like certain diplomatic procedures to make war less horrible than it has to be. Now, this is why in World War I and World War II we call it the worst wars, because it was a total war, right? Like, civilians weren't spared. This is why we're looking back at the bombings of London and Dresden, and we're saying, well, that's atrocious, right? It's what happens when eventually war escalates and escalates and escalates. Again, I disagree with Arch. I don't think that drone should be banned, and I don't think they will. It's simply because the ability to destroy a $1 million tank with a $20,000 gadget, like, I'm sorry, that, like, no Geneva Convention is going to stop that from happening. And secondly, maybe drones will actually replace humans. Who the fuck knows? It wouldn't be surprising. Like, they're already making these dog-like drones, these dog robots that can have a sniper rifle and a machine gun and shit. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the future, like World War III, you're going to have a lot of machinery just fighting with other machines. You still have humans, right? Like, you still have people doing stuff. But, yeah, I mean, you can end up with a very sci-fi, mechanized, like, robot. I don't know how it would work, though, because the machines do run out of power, right? So, like, a human, for instance, I don't think, like, you can ever replace a human. Because humans, you give them food, right? If they're starving, they will tell you, they will radio back at the base. They can sit in the trenches for weeks. While a machine, it needs constant maintenance. It can actually run out of power, out of electricity. But I do think that, yeah, like, you may have one human with, like, 3 robot droids or some shit. If you guys haven't saw the videos, they're already having them for police purposes. Like, there's certain robots that have guns attached and stun guns and shit, and they look like little robots, right? I don't think drones are going to go away, But the image footage, the videos, right? Like placing the image of executing soldiers online and cheering it with rock music for likes and retweets. I think that's the issue. But maybe I'm wrong, who knows. Wasn't there a clip of a drone going kamikaze into an armored truck full of soldiers? Yeah, I have nothing against that. That's legit combat operation. Like, it's horrible, don't get me wrong. But it is part of, like something that you expect in war. Yeah, like they were soldiers, they were being deployed, they got taken out by a drone. Okay. Right. But if it's a guy that's crouching and he's begging for his life, that's an execution video. Not everyone wants to see it. Anyway. Sure, ban them, but the PLA is already incorporating the lessons for Ukraine via Russia. Imagine what the PLA can do with all them Chinese factories. Now, again, like, I don't think they're going to be banned. And what most people don't talk about is the fact that there are drones for underwater operations. Like, it's getting to the point where ships aren't actually as useful as they used to be. Because you have, like, drones that are like submarines going underwater carrying explosives and shit. This is why a lot of people in my country, they're horrified about Romania's Black Sea Navy. And it's like, oh my goodness, we don't have ships anymore. And it's like, yeah, but I think in World War III you may not need ships. Like, drones are going to definitely, like, you still need a couple of ships, right? Like, the drones still need a place to land and they need a place to refuel and stuff. But not as many as you did. Can we please see the footage from when drones get deployed by African warlords? Well, didn't that already happen with the Houthis? They deployed drones against American aircraft carriers, and Americans were upset because it's too expensive to take them down. Like, a drone is like $2,000, $4,000, and a missile to take it down is extremely expensive. And so, like, this is the reason why they won't go away. Like, anyone can use them. They're cheap, they're effective, and they're taking out massively more expensive equipment. You're going to see Protoss carriers, yeah, probably. No, the thing is, though, with drones, I think they're replacing airplanes. They're not completely phasing out airplanes. From what I saw, there's two different types of fighters that are still useful. So the current fighter, the current aircrafts that the United States have, are still useful because they can fire rockets from long ranges. They're kind of like artillery now. Like, they can fire to a very far away target. They don't get their signal jammed, right? And then there's like the Chinese one that they invented, which I don't know if it's real or not. They claim it's real. I haven't seen anyone claim that it's not real. The 7th generation fighter jet, which can fly into outer space. And that shit can take down satellites. So those planes will still exist, but I think like the Air Force are going to be dominated by drones now. No air support is desperately needed in the current day. Combined arms doctrine. Yeah, but like the drones are doing the air support is what I'm saying, right? Like why spend money to buy a $5 million or $10 million jet when with those $10 million you can make 1,000, if not 10,000 drones? Probably even more. I think you can make 100,000 drones, right? Because like a drone is very cheap. It's like $2,000. And it provides air support. Literally does the same thing. And so, it's getting phased out because it's inefficient. It's not cost productive. Drones will allow small nations to be able to stand to the big guys. For now, though, like as technology shifts, you may end up with different, like you can't win the war with drones, right? Like drones are good because they provide air support, and they're also good because they're cheap. But at the end of the day, you need boots on the ground, right? Like a drone isn't going to enforce law in a region. A drone isn't going to capture territory. They need to refuel. So yeah, okay, you have drones, you're a little bit more efficient, but like the more advanced society, like if you're fighting warlords or some shit, right? Like they have smarter gadgets, more advanced tech, and they can still destroy your drones. Like you're probably going to have like either commercial drones or some last generation drones, while they're being able to detect the signal from your operator and launch a tomahawk missile exactly into their barrack. So anyway, once everyone got an AI directed anti-air gun, their vehicle, the drone, won't get even close. Well, no, because you can jam the AI though, right? Like I saw that now they're using drones with optical cables. It's kind of like a remote control toy. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. Yeah, like the drone actually has a wire attached to it, so it can't be jammed. You can't fly it in a forest because it gets tangled in the trees. You can't fly it in buildings because it gets tangled as well. But if it's an open plane like Ukraine, it's perfect for the job, right? Anyway, thank you, chat, for watching. I appreciate it. And thank you for the super chats as well and the donations. And I'll see you guys in the comment section.